everyone, welcome back to the Diabetic Diet Show. Today's show is caper chicken with garlic, Parmesan cheese, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. This is a very simple meal. There's only a few ingredients. I chose it because it's an easy one, but it's great and it doesn't take long. So let's get started. The first thing is I used my teapot, filled it up just about a little bit below the spout with hot water, put it on the stove, got it boiling, turned on this pan, and then I dumped it in there and the water is boiling and it's ready for the potatoes. So we have the potatoes that we're going to need to cut up in a few minutes. We also have a lemon we're going to use, and we have Brussels sprouts. We'll set those off to the side. Now for ingredients, we have garlic. We're going to use at least 2 cloves of garlic, maybe a little more, see how the spirit moves me. I have some Kraft Parmesan cheese measured out in these little containers. These are applesauce containers. You wonder where I get these big ones from. And butter. I'm using a half stick of butter, cut it in half, so that's a quarter. And that is here and all set, ready to go. By the way, while I'm thinking of it, hit that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. We're going to give away some presents to the first 1,000 subscribers. I know you'll want to be involved in that. Also, you'll be able to see other shows if you hit the bell. Now if you want, we do have a website, and you can go to the website and see basically the same deal. As soon as you hit the subscribe button, you'll see the more button on YouTube, which will show you the recipe and all the details for this. But it's also on our website, which is jamestdds.blogspot.com. I'm also using a cream cheese, or you can use Mascarpone. I guess that's kind of the Italian version of it. So I have some of that. And capers, my favorite. They're a little salty, so you want to go a little less salt when you're salting things. However, I am going to salt the water with the potatoes when I put them in. Now, I also am using Italian seasoning that I made. So this was a mix of all the things that I made, and I used this in the recipe when I made dip bread in oil, just like they do at the restaurant. And the name of the restaurant is Carbonara's. To make these potatoes cook faster, we're going to cut them up into smaller pieces. So I've already washed these. I've washed the lemon and the Brussels sprouts. Just rinsed them in water. You could use vinegar if you want. But they say if you use water to wash this stuff, you'll take most of what residue could be left on the produce. They say there may be a residual small percentage, 10% or something could be left on them. But one of the things I try to do is I try to buy produce that is packaged. I feel a little better about it, like it came straight from the farm to be washed and sealed and packaged and not quite as dirty as other things could be. Now let's go ahead and get these put in with the boiling water. So I'm going to use a towel for the lid. And then to put these potatoes in, I'm going to use a spoon because you can accidentally splash. Let's just set it against the side like that as I drop them. And then after you get a few in there, chances of splashing are less. And real quick, let's get some salt in here. Remember, potatoes get a lot more salt than other things do in life. The lid's still too hot to touch. Let's just use a towel on it. And very carefully, that back in place and let it go again. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up our Brussels sprouts. I've already washed everything. So let's go ahead and just knock off the stem like that. And if there's anything really you don't like on the outside, you can just give them a real quick cleaning like that. This does take a little bit to do, but wow, these are so good. These taste so good. I just love making them. Okay, what's left? Here we go. I have the oven preheating to 450 degrees. So it's pretty simple to do this. We're just going to take some Pam, take a cookie sheet, make a circle, put an eye and a smile, and then say, "That's Barb, our floor producer." This is pretty simple. Cut in half. See, I told you this was an easy recipe. It's not too complicated. Just have to cut these in half and put them on here and throw them in the oven. There's not a lot of ingredients, but when you put this together, send me some comments after you try this, because this is one of these recipes I know you're really going to like. Let's throw this in the oven. And we will set the timer. Let's set the timer for 15 minutes. There we go, just a little bit of a cleanup here. Next is our lemon. What we want to do with our lemon is we want to zest about 2 tablespoons. Now, when you zest a lemon, remember you don't want the white that's underneath. That's called peel. That would not be good. That's not something you would want. So just basically roll it around like this. Just like that. Next, we're going to take our lemon, we're going to cut off the bottom, cut off the top, stand it up, now it's safe. All fruit, when you go to cut it, you want to have it sitting flat so it doesn't roll and cut your fingers. So now basically all I'm going to do is a little bit of a plus sign right across here, just like that. It gives me wedges. Once I get my wedges, I'll be able to use that to squeeze the lemon juice. And I just use this little tool. You can just put it in your hand with the cut side face up and you can squeeze it. But I have this fancy little tool. A lot of my cooking stuff that's old, I bought at garage sales almost 30 years ago. This is fairly easy. That's how they look after you squeeze them. Get a lot of juice out of one lemon. There you go. Now that the potatoes are done, we can go ahead and put in like half of our cheese with the potatoes. And our cream cheese, our mascarpone. I don't know who Mascarpone was or how he got things named after him, but obviously he's more famous than me because he's got cheese named after him. And I know I happen to like cream cheese. So we'll just put that in there like that, and we'll just give this stuff a stir. Nice and careful so we don't knock the pan off the burner. Haven't done it, but I've come close. Now I'm going to let these sit before I mash them up. Even though I've turned the heat off, I like just to leave them sit in the hot water and mash them in a little bit. The longer you let them sit, the easier it is for them to mash. Now let's go ahead and cook our chicken because the Brussels sprouts are almost done. So I'm putting some oil in the pan. Put this on the burner, fire it up, and we're down to about 1 minute on the oven. So we'll get that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and get our chicken in here. I like to have it in a bag like this so I don't cross-contaminate anything. And then I also have my spatula nearby to go ahead and shake things out in the frying pan. So I have that going. Basically what I have here is cut up pieces about the size of the spoon. So if you can see the spoon, that's what I have. Wow, this is what they look like. Looks delicious. I'm just going to set them on the stove. We'll just let them cool while the chicken cooks. Let's go ahead and take these potatoes off this burner and just set it here. It'll start to slowly cool down on this counter. And we have the chicken here. I think I'll move it forward to the forward burner. Just like that. Now let's get some seasoning in here. So we want salt, pepper, and this is that Italian seasoning that I used in the Carrabba's show. And if you would like to know what is in this seasoning, if you just click on the subscribe button, you will see the ingredients for this listed in where it says more. We can go ahead and set the timer now for 6 minutes. So it's going to be 6 minutes per side. I have them laid out like this. These are almost done. Here's my trick. Shot glass with about 1/4 of water in it. Put the lid on it. Let it steam for the last minute. I always do this to my meat and it always makes it juicy. It is all done, so let's go ahead and take the lid off and give these a little bit of a shake. I have another plate for our meat. Now, I'm just going to turn my heat on just a little bit, and I'm going to put in the butter, just like that, and get that butter going. Put in my lemon juice, just get this melting. This is going to be my topping. Let's put the capers in, get them to warm up a little bit. You know, you don't really have to cook them. Basically, we'll just warm them up a little bit. And then I have a spoon here where we're going to spoon out this sauce. And it is going to be delicious. And we'll put this on top of our chicken. It is going to be so good. Let's go ahead and let's start out with some chicken on the plate. Try to get a nice little handful of that set there. Let's put some Brussels sprouts on here, the roasted Brussels sprouts, just like this. And we have potatoes in the fantastic non-stick Ninja pan. I just scoop them into a block and then I cut them in half and say half for Barb and half for me. There you go, just like that. Then we have some of this super lemon butter juice to put on top. You know this is going to be delicious. I like to put a little bit on the capers. I'm going to put it on the meat. Just a little extra for Barb because she's my favorite. And then lastly, you sprinkle just a little bit of cheese on top. And you can put more on if you want. You know, it's Parmesan, it's kind of strong. So, look at that. This is exciting. Here's the meal for the day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.